The Lioness Who Prayed. The morning sun rose over the small mountain village, bathing the roofs and fields in a warm golden glow. At the center of the square stood a statue of the Virgin Mary. Her features were serene, her hands open as though inviting the weary to rest. To the villagers, it was more than stone. It was a reminder that no matter how hard the seasons, compassion still lived among them. That morning, however, something happened that none of them would ever forget. A lioness, thin and trembling, limped slowly into the square. The sight was shocking. A wild creature in the very heart of the village. Mothers clutched their children. Men froze in place. But the animal did not roar. She did not lunge. Instead, she staggered forward and rose clumsily onto her hind legs. Pressing her front paws together against her chest, she lifted her gaze to the Virgin Mary. Her eyes glistened as if filled with tears. The villagers could hardly breathe. They had seen lions hunt, fight, and prowl at the edges of their fields, but never a lioness begging. "She's praying," someone whispered. The lioness held the pose, chest heaving, then released a low, broken cry. She turned and limped toward the forest path. After several steps, she looked back. Her stare was unmistakable. "Follow me." Fear warred with compassion. Finally, a small group of villagers, led by an elderly woman, gathered the courage to follow. Their feet crunched softly over the leaves until the lioness stopped. There, lying on the ground beneath a cluster of pines, was an elderly forest ranger, nearly 70. His uniform was worn but tidy. His silver hair was spread against the earth. One hand clutched his chest. Sweat streaked his face. His lips parted in shallow, uneven breaths. "He's had a heart attack," one villager murmured. The lioness circled him anxiously. She nudged his shoulder, then looked back at the people, eyes wide, as though pleading again, "Please save him." In that moment, the villager understood. She had not begged for herself, but for this man. Action erupted. One villager dialed emergency services with shaking hands. Another knelt to check the ranger's pulse, weak but still present. The lioness paced around them, restless, growling softly when anyone moved too fast, then calming when they slowed. She guarded him with all the devotion of family. Minutes stretched endlessly. At last, the wail of sirens pierced the valley. A rescue truck skidded to a halt, paramedics spilling out with their equipment. When they reached the ranger, the lioness leapt in front of them, body stiff, teeth bared. "No, we need to help him," one medic cried. The villagers raised their hands, speaking gently, coaxing. Finally, the lioness lowered her head and stepped aside, though her eyes never left the ranger. The paramedics moved quickly, administering oxygen, preparing a stretcher. As they lifted the ranger, the lioness whined, circling frantically. When they slid him into the truck, she leapt up after him. Gasps rose from the crowd. The medics hesitated, but the driver shook his head. "She's not leaving him. Let her stay." Through twisting mountain roads, the vehicle rattled, siren wailing. Inside, the lioness pressed close to the stretcher, her golden eyes locked on the ranger's face. Every shallow breath he took seemed to steady her. Each time his chest faltered, she whimpered, placing her paw lightly on the stretcher frame. One young medic whispered, "I've never seen devotion like this, not even from people." When the truck screeched to a halt at the hospital, panic erupted. Nurses and patients screamed at the sight of a lioness stepping down from a vehicle. But instead of attacking, she padded slowly beside the stretcher, head low, gaze fixed on the old man. The head doctor, gray-haired and stern, raised his hand. "Wait." He studied the lioness for a long moment, then quietly said, "Let her stay in the corridor. Do not provoke her." Hours dragged on. The lioness lay across the hallway floor outside the emergency room. Her ears were pricked, her tail curled tight. Nurses walked by on tiptoe, whispering in awe. Some brought water in a bowl. She ignored it, her gaze never leaving the closed doors. Inside, doctors worked to stabilize the ranger's heart. Machines beeped steadily. Medicine flowed. Hands moved quickly. Outside, the lioness mirrored their intensity with her stillness. For the villagers who had followed to the hospital, it felt as if the Virgin Mary statue had come alive through this creature's devotion. At last, the doors swung open. The ranger, pale but breathing steadily, was wheeled out. Tubes and wires clung to him, but his chest rose with new strength. The lioness rose instantly, padding forward. She bent her head and touched her nose gently to his wrinkled hand. Gasps filled the corridor. His eyelids fluttered. Slowly, they opened, finding her golden eyes. With effort, he smiled faintly. "You stayed with me," he whispered. Tears filled many eyes that day. In a sterile hospital, medicine had worked, but love had carried him there. The story spread like fire. A lioness begged before the Virgin to save a ranger's life. Newspapers printed the photo of her lying in the hospital. Social media shared videos of her climbing into the rescue truck. People around the world wept. The old man recovered slowly. His steps became shorter, his patrols gentler. Yet every morning, cane in hand, he walked to the square. He paused before the Virgin statue, touched his chest, and whispered his thanks for life, for mercy, for the lioness who would not abandon him. For over a week, the lioness lingered near the hospital garden. Children crept close to watch her. Villagers left food and water. She touched none of it, waiting only for glimpses of the ranger at his window. When he was discharged, she was there, lying beneath a tree. He raised a trembling hand. She lifted her head, stared a long moment, then turned toward the forest. At the edge of the village, she looked back once more. Man and lioness exchanged a final gaze, gratitude mirrored in golden and human eyes alike. And then she disappeared into the trees. From that day on, the villagers spoke of more than survival. They spoke of a miracle, of a bond that crossed the boundaries boundaries of species, a faith that reached beyond fear. And they told their children, sometimes we save animals, sometimes animals save us, and sometimes, through compassion, we save each other.